Greetings, everybody. Dave DeWalt here. I'm the founder and CEO of NightDragon. We're coming to you live from our NightVision series, kind of our podcast series, where we bring prominent executives and admirals and generals and leaders from all over the world to talk about some cool topics. And 2026 has been full of really interesting topics with AI and autonomy and obviously all the activities that are happening around the world. I have such an amazing guest today. And I'm really excited to introduce her. Amy Gilliland is the Executive Vice President of General Dynamics and the President of GDIT, General Dynamics Information Technology. Amy, thank you so much for coming and joining. And it's such a great pleasure to get to know you, and what an honor to be here with you today.
Dave, thanks for inviting me. I heard this was the fun studio to be in, so I don't know where I stack up in all of your other guests, but I'm happy to be here.
We'll let AI judge us at the end, Amy. So we'll see. We'll have audience here judge us. But thank you for coming. What an honor it is. Today we have some exciting news for those who are listening. We are announcing a really unique partnership between NightDragon and GDIT. And Amy and I are here to tell you a little of what we're doing, especially to bring kind of vision and acceleration of innovation to the warfighter, to mission. And when you really think about NightDragon and what it does with investments and advisory in the security tech and national security ecosystem, you think about what General Dynamics does, it's a perfect marriage in a way where we can bring innovation, accelerate it to mission, and do some exciting things. But I want to introduce Amy properly because she is one of the heroes that I think are out there. Not only is she president of GDIT, she has served our military for a long period of time, served General Dynamics a long period of time, rose up, also sits on outside boards like Bank of New York Mellon, and also has just been a pillar of our community. And it's just a great honor. Amy, maybe in your words, just tell a little bit about your career to start, because I'll probably never do it the justice it deserves.
Well, Dave, you're very kind in all of your words. Yeah, no, I grew up. My great-grandfather was in the Navy, and he really was raised by a single mother, so my great-grandfather really spent a lot of time with him. And so my mom was a military civilian working for the Army. And so anyways, I grew up in this sense of duty to country and mission. And I was fortunate to get an appointment to the Naval Academy, where I spent 4 years, graduated, and then went into almost a decade of service in the Navy. And so my first job as adult was on a guided missile destroyer. And so, in Yemen, sailing through the Straits of Hormuz, through the Suez Canal and other places. So I cut my teeth on the mission, and from that young age to going into the Navy, and then I made a difficult decision to get out of the military, but wanted to be very close to it still. So that's how I came into industry, working at General Dynamics, where I've spent the next 20 plus years of my career. And as you highlighted, I've had a variety of different jobs here, but now I have the privilege over the last almost 9 years of leading GDIT. So there's about 26,000 employees here. We serve, as you highlighted, national security, homeland security, federal and civilian agencies, federal health agencies, really bringing the best of technology to the mission. And it is such a gift to be able to sit in this chair and work with individuals like you to bring the best technology to those who need it most, which are our warfighters.
Well, I'm quite honored to have you, and I didn't know about the lineage of grandfathers and great-grandfathers. Congratulations on that, and thank you for all your service that you've done for this country. I wish I had that same background, although I have nearly 40 years of
Yes.
companies.
Yeah, no, your background is equally impressive, and why it is, this partnership that we're going to talk about today is a inspiration to my workforce. One of the things that I love about your past and about what you've built at NightDragon is this focus on innovation. It is exciting, and it will be so exciting to my workforce, which are technologists and service providers. That's what they do. And having the best tools in our rucksack to bring to the mission is really why we all get out of bed every day. But I wanted to say, I saw in college that you were a pretty good wrestler. And in college, I was a pretty good lacrosse player. So I think the two of us, I don't know what that violence looks like, but I think it's pretty intense.
Yeah, it would have been great in wrestling if I had a stick, right? A lacrosse stick. Then it would have created a combat that's a whole new level.
Well, it
right?
would have been great with a stick to be able to wrestle the other ladies. I think I might have tried that. But they allow a lot in women's lacrosse, even more today than they did way back when I played. But wrestling wasn't one of the things that was allowed, so...
Well, little known fact, I went to University of Delaware as an All-American wrestler, but we wrestled Navy, we wrestled Army. I had many trips to the Naval Academy and to West Point over, and a lot of respect for whenever we went up against them, we knew we were in battle. And
they never give up. The Navy women's lacrosse team has actually just made the next bracket in the women's lacrosse.
I hear you. In fact, I follow wrestling in the way you, I think, follow lacrosse to this day. So more or not another day. But let's set the stage, if we can, for why we're here and why we're partnering. I'll use just 30 seconds of my voice. I see this era of AI and autonomy as really creating what I call a perfect storm, like a perfect storm of not just opportunity to accelerate innovation, but a perfect storm of threats that are occurring as well that really have changed the landscape in all my decades of kind of being an operator, CEO, and yours, serving mission and General Dynamics. This time of technology inertia is wheeling fast. And that creates a lot of threats and a lot of risks, whether it's AI or Anthropics and new Mythos models or next generation quantum and resiliency or robotics and autonomy. We're seeing the threat, we're seeing the risk, but we're also seeing the opportunity. And that's the landscape that I kind of convey on why we're starting to see investment platforms like NightDragon, who serve a mission a different way, partnering with companies like yourself. So maybe use your words a little bit of kind of why we're here and why that's coming together.
Yeah, sure, Dave. 100%. It is an exciting time to be at the helm of a company like GDIT because, as you highlight, we have a front row seat to perhaps the greatest change in technology in generations. And so watching that unfold is incredible. And yes, you're right, our adversaries are also benefiting from the rapid evolution of technology. And so that is risk, but there is opportunity. And we have the opportunity to be in that foot race that we're in as Americans and to bring the best technology to bear for all of the reasons why we're in the defense sector, which is really, the serving our country in so many different ways. By the way, we can talk about it later, but beyond even national security, but through other government missions like serving our federal government, our fellow citizens. But going back to why we're here now, when you combine that evolution of technology with this administration's willingness to lean into, and not only willingness, but demand to lean into technology, you have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to bring that to bear. So you've seen it. There are really powerful changes that are being made into how procurement is done. The government wants to get rid of friction, and there's all different kinds of friction in working with the government, whether that be contracting or just, clearances, foci, how we work with international companies, etc. But the government wants to make it easy to bring technology to bear. And so part of that is also a mindset shift, which is you know my mission, you tell me what I need, and not just to solve the problem in front of me, but to prepare for the problem that we know is coming. And so that mandate and that willingness to lean into emerging technologies, this is the moment, Dave, and we're in it, so it's exciting.
I feel like we got to get younger, Amy. We're going to reverse the clocks and get faster in technology innovation
Speak
ourselves.
for yourself, Dave. I feel very young. I'm in it. I'm in it
I'm in it with it too with you, Amy. So thank you for the partnership. Let's talk a little bit about kind of better together between
Yeah.
us because, you run your business, I run my business. I see a lot of opportunity for us to create tighter and tighter interlock. But for me, and if this doesn't come out, trust is everything at the start of this, right? I trust you. I believe in you. I believe what you've created. You've really created an incredible culture at GDIT, innovation at GDIT. I think you're leading what I see as an entire industry in innovation and culture and kind of the X factor behind that is hard to see in numbers. And yeah, you have 26,000 employees. Yeah, you've grown this into a mega business. But, it's behind the scenes that I love, and that culture really plays out. And congratulations on that. But let's talk operationally. What do you see from your side? What do I need to write down that I have to do on my side?
Yeah, well, you have to keep doing what you've been doing. So, first of all, back at you on the innovation side. So, you have built a culture of innovation, and your secret sauce, and I know this because we've been working with some of your portfolio companies, is really identifying those emerging technologies. What's on the come, and how, because you also know the space very well, how do I bring that to bear? And so for us, yes, trust is important. We've made a commitment to each other, but trust is also important with the customer. And that kind of trust in bringing technology to bear is something that's built over decades. That's what GDIT brings to the table. We know our customers' environments. We've been in them. We work side by side in the foxhole overseas. I have hundreds and hundreds of employees in all theaters overseas, or be it here at whatever intelligence agency you want to talk about, or federal agency, or whatever. We know the mission, we understand our customers' environments. We also understand where technology is going, but you, in many ways, you have the front row seat to where are you investing, and you understand, you and I have been chatting, let's talk about Horizon 3 .ai, right? That is a company that you went out and curated for investment because you understand the kind of autonomy that they offer in cybersecurity and how important that is. Our partnership together has led to incredible impact to the mission in just a year's time. So what I see is customer wanting to bring the very best technology forward, and us making a commitment together to say, what can we invest in together and develop and bring forward that gives the customer a proven, scalable, secure solution that they can bring to the mission tomorrow, because that is so new and so necessary and so refreshing. And I just love I describe us, part of our culture, as scrappy, and that is, there's a fire in the belly about that. And I see that in you too. I'm not saying you're scrappy, but I'm saying that you're very much on the cutting edge of bringing the best forward. And I love that. And that's why my employees work at GDIT.
Lacrosse players, wrestlers, we're grinders at the end of the day. So
yeah. Got to move quickly to win.
Got to do it. Hey, let's talk about that example, because I think it's worth, talking about one company specifically. But just to set the stage, there's many companies that we're working on, and many, research and development solutions we're working on. But I think about NightDragon's side of this, and part of what I've tried to do with NightDragon is really create what I call strategic investment operator kind of model. So I think very strategically, what's the threat? What's the risk? What does the warfighter need? And then how do I invest capital to accelerate them and prepare them for the mission? And so part of what I try to do is take these companies and teach them, okay, we got a FedRAMP, we got to create a SCIF, we got to start to create FOCI compliance, we got to understand how to build infrastructure for your company to create readiness so you can deploy it into a program that's either existing or a new program that's being created. So part of my job is to do that. And the one company you mentioned was a good one, because in the past year, we've watched these next generation frontier models create a new risk. And Anthropic's done that with Claude and Mythos, and prior to this Opus, where suddenly vulnerabilities and the scale of vulnerabilities is accelerating. And the ability not only to understand those vulnerabilities, but also to create exploits from the vulnerabilities at machine speed. So what did we do at NightDragon? We came and looked, what's the best remedy we could find at machine speed for these types of threats and risks that are coming from these new frontier models. We found a company called Horizon 3 AI. We invested into them. We're now leading a much bigger round of financing for them, but we also brought it together with GDIT and NightDragon to bring it to the warfighter as well. And that is really, I think, at the end of the day, how do we do that? And how can we do that in less than 1 year?
Yeah.
And that's the speed we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's so interesting. I mean, I've had a seat at the procurement process for a long time in different in various capacities. But you're right. The government has a mandate that they have to be compliant, zero trust compliant, or at least have a roadmap towards it by 2028. There is a sense of urgency, not only from a policy perspective, but to your point, from a threat perspective. What was unique about that opportunity, because that happened arguably even faster than most, is we understood the customer's environment. And part of that, Dave, is understanding they've made some investment in zero trust already. They're not looking to scrap everything they have, throw it away and start over again, because they don't have the funding for that. But we understood through talking with you and your portfolio what capabilities you had and how we could fit it into a stack that we were providing that also used technology that the customer had invested in, so they could move quickly. It wasn't rip and replace. It was, how do we leverage what you have and give you cutting edge technology? And that is why it was successful ultimately. We gave them something that we could attest to the fact would work, and they could do it quickly because we were building it into a stack that they had already invested in. And so that is success. And I think, there's other opportunities to do just that, because not every stack is the same. Not every government requirement. Different missions require different levels of security, etc. I know we've done something similar, but with a different product of yours in Clarity, where we are defending critical infrastructure. Again, Air Force is a customer, but a different mission. And we found that to be effective also. So, what I say to my technologist is success begets success. And I think that is how we continue to bring forward technology to bear together, is we show our technologists how this works and what good looks like. And that is self-propelling.
I'm glad you brought up, the world of critical infrastructure, and you mentioned a company called Clarity. But for those who don't know it, Clarity is essentially a cybersecurity company that protects what we call our OT networks, or these operational technology, industrial systems areas. And we start to look at what's happened over the last few years. These critical infrastructures have become targets as part of hybrid warfare. The Chinese have created a number of large-scale threats into America's energy system, utility systems, water systems, and this is vital homeland security, and also one into the telecommunications sector. So when you think about Salt Typhoon, or Volt Typhoon as they were called, that the Chinese perpetrated, we need to protect our infrastructure in a different way. And a good example, again, of NightDragon coming together with GDIT about how do we not only protect and bring things to our warfighters in mission, but also how do we protect homeland security and our mission critical infrastructure. And we did that again at the speed of innovation that we're talking about. So maybe just spend a second on your vision of your platform. I know it's called VIA and EIA. Just explain that for a second. I think that's really interesting for everybody.
Yeah, thanks for raising that. So, we've been on a journey as a systems integrator. You can't stand still, right? Whether you're NightDragon or GDIT. And really, post-COVID, what COVID, if anything, if there was goodness that came out of COVID, it is the realization from our government customers that their roadmaps for technology insertion that were 5 years down the road needed to happen now. There was an underinvestment in IT. IT is part of bringing the fight forward, and that only becomes more important as technology evolves at the pace that you and I have discussed. So we started a couple of years ago really focusing on technology and how we bring proven solutions. It's no more like, you customer, tell me what you want and we'll go create an idea and then we'll bring it to you and then you'll tell us what you think about it. And it's I need a proven solution to put into my environment now. So we started investing as a company, GDIT, really focusing on innovation, coming up with solutions to common problems, largely focused on areas around artificial intelligence, software development, cybersecurity. And as this administration came in, as we talked about a few moments ago, and showed that they were really willing to lean into technology, we needed to evolve. It wasn't all going to come from our innovation. And so we started to really identify, okay, where is the mission focus, the vision? What do we need to invest in? We know we need to invest in our workforce, for example, and their skills, but where from the mission is most important place to put our resources? Next step, we need to innovate and solve that problem. There are traditional technology companies that we have partnered with for a long time, but emerging technology and the willingness of the customer to, not only willingness, but demand to bring those emerging technologies to bear, that's where you come in, Dave, because we started to look around and say, who is the best of breed here? And what is the established success of these portfolios? So really leveraging our own investment, but combining that with strategic partnerships and emerging technology companies. And frankly, when we started talking and working with some of your portfolio companies, NightDragon was very differentiated. And we said, we want to go deeper, not just at the portfolio company level, but at the VC level with you, and start really looking at how that could look different, and then accelerating. How do we bring that to bear quickly? And bringing it to bear means that we start thinking about co-investing, co-developing, solving problems early so that we have those proven solutions to bring and we can deliver quickly. And that example of the Air Force is a perfect example. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens because we're very deliberate and thoughtful.
Yeah, I love it. And for those, I love your vision here. Vision, innovation, acceleration via,
Yeah.
right? That's what I think about too, is like, how do we see the market? What threats are coming? What does the warfighter need? How do we find that innovation, accelerate that innovation, bring it to mission? And if we can do that better together, this is a cycle that'll go faster and faster, and we will serve America in a way that, I can feel out of both of us is what we're about. And I think this is amazing times we're in. You mentioned cyber and AI, and you mentioned, but there's other areas like quantum that we can go into that we're both exploring, as you know. Other areas that we're seeing in space now, and autonomy and robotics, that are really interesting. And I, for one, really believe this is one of the most transformational times. Those who innovate the fastest and the greatest will be the greatest leader. Yeah. And here
the
you
inverse
are.
is also true, Dave.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And hence why we're here together and partnering together. I would just like to say thank you to you. What an honor it is to work with GDIT, to work with you, Amy. And I look forward to many years of working together. The market's going to see some exciting things from us with the announcements we're going to do, but this is just the start, and I'm excited to be a part of your world and look forward to many years together.
I feel equally passionate about this. When the mission succeeds, and the mission is equipped with the tools it needs, our country succeeds, and that is the best investment that we can make. So super excited to innovate together and to move the mission forward. So thanks for your time, and I'm so excited about the partnership. My employees are going to be thrilled to hear about what we're bringing to bear.
Well, you are the best, Amy. Thank you. NightDragon, GTIT, working together to innovate for America. Thank you so much for joining the show, and look forward to seeing you around somewhere soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll see you soon, Dave. Thanks.
Thank you, Amy.